Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2024 release, What You Wish For. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are two reasons that I really wanted to see this film. One is the fact that it was written and directed by Nicholas Tomnay, who did the film The Perfect Host, which I think is vastly underrated. I think it's a really good film. Big fan of that one. So I was like, what's this follow up going to be like? Also, the actor Nick Stahl is in this film, and I've been a fan of the work of Nick Stahl ever since I saw him in the film Bully a long time ago, and then really liked him even more after I saw his performance in the amazing, also underrated HBO, well, at that time, HBO show Carnival. Wonderful. Also has Adrienne Barbeau in it and Clancy Brown, and check it out. Totally worth it. But anyway, yeah, What You Wish For, I actually watched it streaming through Fandango at home. It is very cheap at the moment. It's currently on sale when I'm recording this. I rented it for $2.11 with tax. So even if you're disappointed in this film, like I actually kind of was, unfortunately, $2.11, totally not mad about spending that much because it's not much. Quick synopsis for this film. It is about Nick Stahl's character, who is a guy who is running from something. He's having financial problems. He's having problems in general. He goes to visit a friend who's currently in the country of Colombia because he has a gig. They're both chefs. They're kind of linking up after, I think it said like 12 years. And they're kind of hanging out there while the friend, Jack, is getting ready for this job that he has to do there. So some things end up transpiring while Nick Stahl's character is there, and he kind of starts to think, you know, what if this is my life? What if I start to do the same thing as what's going on? But little does he know anything about the company that his friend Jack is actually involved with. So that's all I'm going to say. It is horror. It is a very interesting concept, but like I said, I didn't end up really loving the film. I didn't hate the film. I didn't love it. It's like a little bit in betweenish, but that's my best synopsis because I don't want to give too much away if people do want to check it out. The beginning of the film does a good job of giving you a fish out of water feel for the main character. I like that, especially because that's literally the situation that's going on here. The character being played by Nick Stahl is running away from his current life, in essence. He's going to a place that he's never been to before. He's meeting up with someone he hasn't seen in 12 years. And so things are very up in the air. He's very fish out of water. He's never been to this place before. So he also doesn't at this point know where his life is going, and it doesn't like where his life is going. So they did a really good job through the visuals and what goes on with the character in the beginning of making you feel that, like getting close to the character in that sense. There's a moment relatively early on when things take a turn and you wonder what's next. Like I said, this does a really good job at having a good premise to it. I think the execution is definitely flawed. The script actually needed a lot of work, in my opinion, but the premise is really cool, and how they set things up to kind of be the first issue that pops up where you're just like, okay, how are characters going to react to this? Where are we going to go from here? Where's the story going to end up ending? Using end too much, but you got that. There's a moment relatively early on when things... I literally just read that. My bad. It's one of those days. There are a series of things a character does that you just keep thinking about. You think, there's no way that this is going to go well. There is a character who keeps saying things and doing things, and all the while you're just like, I don't understand why we're going this direction. I don't think that this person would necessarily be this stupid. Also, what is this person thinking? You know, like, how is any of this going to go well? It's just going to be bad. But then, you know, we wouldn't have a movie if that's not how things were. So, but it is one of those things where you just feel like it's kind of a bit of writing out of convenience going on with the film. Going back to what I was saying about the script being problematic. Characters are too forthcoming with information when they definitely would not be. Again, another writing issue, another writing for convenience, where characters will give up information to other characters that you know these people definitely would not do, just for the sake of moving the story forward. And even though they're doing that to move the story forward, it still feels like the pacing has big issues, unfortunately. So you're not even gaining anything out of just having these characters willy-nilly give up this information and not act true to life for who they are as people within the context of the story and what's going on. So again, script needed a lot of work. Scenes tend to just hang on too long and feel like that awkward moment when you run out of things to talk about with someone. Everyone knows that. We've all been there before. You have someone that you're talking to and you guys don't have a whole lot in common. Maybe you just met them. Maybe it's an acquaintance of a spouse or something, and you're just like, you get to the point of exhausting everything that you have in common or that you want to talk about with the person, and then it's just silence between the two of you. And it's so awkward, and no one knows what to do. And that's how a lot of these scenes ended up feeling in the film, unfortunately, because they just keep going. And it seems like characters are just talking to talk, and it's not going anywhere, and they're just belaboring the story and belaboring the conversations just to stretch the time. Now, this movie's about an hour and 40 minutes-ish, and it just definitely does not need to be that. They easily could have cut 30 minutes out of this film, unfortunately. Well, maybe not quite 30, at least 25. At least 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and the pacing would have been helped out greatly. And the film in general just would have been helped out greatly for that. The pacing gets very rough around 1 hour in. So the pacing isn't too terrible until they hit the hour mark. Like, it's not great up until the hour mark, but then once it hits an hour, it just really starts to get bogged down so much. Then they pick it back up some in the end, but it's just kind of like a too little too late type thing, unfortunately. But yeah. There are some decent, intense moments, though. This isn't all bad. You know, I like the performances. I thought for the most part, everyone did a really good job performance-wise. Nick Stahl, I think, for the most part, did a really good job. There were a few scenes where I see him kind of faltering a little bit, and I think it kind of seemed to me like he was kind of being like, is this movie like finding its way story-wise? You know, like him wondering that, like while he's doing the acting is kind of what it seemed like to me. And the answer is not really. But for the most part, I think he did a good job. Everyone else did a really nice job. Except the person who played the there is a police inspector, and that acting was not the best. It wasn't terrible, but it stood out as being lesser than everyone else, basically, unfortunately. But they did do a good job of having some intense moments in the film, so I do appreciate that. Also, some of these moments where you're having interactions between characters, ones that aren't too long and drawn out, where you're just like, okay, who's going to catch on to what, and who's going to accidentally say what, and, you know, like one of those good tension moments. There is a statement in the end of this film that points at the title, but you already end up knowing that well before the end of the film. So I think the title's a little too unoriginal, a little too much like telling you what you're trying to do as a filmmaker with the film. I think maybe making it a little more cryptic would have been a good idea, because especially like I'm talking about, like you get to the end and it seems like it's supposed to be this kind of big thing where you're like, oh, the title of the movie, but you're getting it from very early into the film. You're just like, oh yeah, the title of the movie, like it's not a big deal. So anyway, that's just my feeling on it, and that's basically all I have to say about What You Wish For. Technically shot pretty solid. It doesn't have a lot of like very interesting, engaging camera work or anything. So directed fine. Shot cinematography is not like anything great, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Score is okay. So out of 5 stars, half stars, and play, unfortunately I have to give it a 2-star rating. Not a big fan of this one, but you know, there's some enjoyment with it. So I don't know. If you end up checking it out, go ahead and put some comments down there. We can talk about it. Did you like it, hate it, in between on it? Would love to hear other opinions on this. Do me a favor, though. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up if you want to help me with the YouTube algorithm. Hit the notification bell button if you want to know when I'm putting up new videos, and you can sign up for a membership if you'd like. I just started those. The description is in, or the link is in the description. Jeez, one of those days, you guys. But anyway, thanks everyone for taking your time to check this out. I do appreciate that. And until next time, keep it brutal.